Welcome to Video 2 of Parish Disaster Planning. This video is part of the Catholic Disaster Preparedness Program, produced by Catholic Charities, and a continuation of Parish Disaster Planning Video 1.
Parish Disaster Planning Video 1 explored the characteristics of a prepared parish. It explained how parishes can and should prepare for disasters. It showed how prepared parishes can continue to do the work they are called to do and serve those they are called to serve by identifying hazard risks, assessing the current state of parish preparedness, establishing parish preparedness goals, and implementing those goals.
Video 2 is focused on implementing one of the most critical parish preparedness goals, putting effective plans in place to address the identified hazard risks. As we begin, let us pray, God is our refuge, from Psalm 46.
God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be moved. God will help it when the morning dawns. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge.
Disaster plans may not prevent a hazard event from happening, but a good plan will strengthen the ability of the parish to protect people from the impacts, to continue serving the church community, and to recover more quickly. We will explore two components of parish disaster planning in this video: the Emergency Operations Plan, or EOP, and the Continuity of Operations Plan, or COOP plan.
Parish Emergency Operations Planning. A parish EOP is an ongoing plan maintained by a parish for responding to a wide variety of potential hazards. Ongoing means the plan is practiced, reviewed, and updated on a regular basis.
An EOP describes how people and property will be protected. It details who is responsible for carrying out specific actions, identifies the personnel, equipment, facilities, supplies, and other resources available, and outlines how all actions will be coordinated. The EOP planning process in this video follows FEMA's guide for developing high-quality emergency operations plans for houses of worship. This guidance was developed by experts from across the interfaith community, including Catholic Charities.
One important principle of disaster planning, though, is to make it your own. The planning process can and should be adapted to accommodate a parish's unique characteristics and situation.
Another important principle is support from leadership. The planning process cannot be successful without it. The pastor initiates and supports disaster planning efforts. This support includes designating one or more individuals to lead the planning process. The leader may be clergy, parish staff, or parish member.
Parish Emergency Operations Planning Process. The process for developing a parish EOP is presented as a series of steps, which the parish revisits over time.
Emergency Operations Planning Step 1. Form a collaborative planning team. If there are parish members who have emergency management experience, ask them to join your team. Other representatives of the community's first responder organizations are also valuable assets. Their expertise will inform the development, implementation, and refinement of your plan.
Include parish staff knowledgeable about facilities and parish functions. Where possible, consider including diverse representation on the planning team, including individuals with disabilities, young adults, and the elderly.
Keep the planning team small enough to permit close collaboration, yet large enough to be representative of the parish leadership and members and community partners. Avoid placing an undue burden on any one person.
When the team is formed, Establish and maintain a realistic meeting schedule. Activity. Assembling a planning team. How will you find the right people for your planning team? When the video is paused, turn to this activity in the participant guide. Work individually or as a group, whichever is appropriate for your setting. The first column in the activity table lists categories of experience needed for your team. The second column has space to jot down names of individuals you already know that would meet the criteria. The third column has space to record ideas for identifying and inviting members of the parish community and others to join your team.
Emergency Operations Planning Step 2. Understand the situation. This step was also discussed in Parish Disaster Planning Video 1. It involves identifying threats and hazards, assessing the risks posed by those hazards, and prioritizing risks based on the likely impacts and effects on people, property, and parish functions.
Emergency Operations Planning Step 3. Determine goals and objectives. Goals and objectives for the EOP are determined in almost the same way as for overall parish preparedness discussed in Video 1. The planning team decides which of the threats and hazards identified in Step 2 will be addressed in the Parish Emergency Operations Plan. Some parishes initially look at the highest priority items, then address others in future planning cycles.
FEMA guidance recommends 3 goals for each high-priority hazard. For example, for a tornado hazard, 3 possible goals might include: 1. Warn all persons on site of imminent tornado events. 2. Protect all persons on site from injury caused by tornadoes. And 3. Protect parish property from high wind damage.
Objectives represent tasks that must be accomplished to achieve goals. In this case, objectives to achieve protect all persons from injury caused by tornadoes might include: communicate the shelter-in-place warning to all persons on site, guide all persons on site to designated shelter facilities, and guide all persons to remain in shelter until safe to emerge.
Emergency Operations Planning Step 4. Develop the EOP.
The EOP defines courses of action that describe how and when each response will be implemented under a variety of circumstances. Identify decision points by walking through scenarios of how an event could unfold, such as whether to evacuate, shelter in place, or lock down.
Develop courses of action to achieve goals and objectives by answering a series of questions such as: what is the action? Who is responsible for the action? How will this action affect children, the elderly, and others with access and functional needs?
One scenario to consider is a tornado warning during Mass. One action might be guiding Mass attendees to the designated shelter. The EOP may assign this responsibility to the ushers. Children, the elderly, and others with access and functional needs clearly will need assistance.
After the plan is approved, the planning team develops specific protocols and procedures to support the actions described in the plan.
Activity. Identifying courses of action. Plans include multiple courses of action to reflect the different ways a scenario could unfold. There could be any number of scenarios for one hazard.
When the video is paused, refer to this activity in the participant guide. Pick a hazard that presents a high risk to your parish. Think about and jot down at least 4 different ways the hazard scenario could play out in your parish. Emergency Operations Planning Step 5. Prepare, review, and obtain approval. In Step 5, the planning team develops a draft of the EOP using the courses of action developed in Step 4. In addition, the team reviews the plan, obtains approval from senior parish management, and shares the plan with the parish community.
It is important to lay out the plan to make it easy for users to find the information they need. EOPs commonly have three main sections: basic plan, functional annexes that address common functions like communications, warning, sheltering, and evacuation, threat and hazard-specific annexes.
More details on plan layout and format are available in the references found in the participant guide. The participant guide also includes a template for a parish EOP, based on recommendations from the FEMA Guide for developing high-quality emergency operations plans for houses of worship.
Coordinate to ensure the parish plan is consistent with local community plans. For example, on evacuation instructions, locations of public shelters, and warning. Use plain language and also consider using pictures or visual cues for key action steps.
Emergency Operations Planning Step 6. Implement and maintain the parish EOP. Step 6 involves three important elements: training those who have a role in the plan, exercising the plan, and reviewing, revising, and maintaining the plan.
For any plan to be effective, those involved need to know their roles and responsibilities before, during, and after an incident. This can be accomplished using a variety of methods. How will you familiarize parish staff, ministry leaders, and parish members with the parish EOP?
Some suggestions for familiarizing with the plan include meeting to review roles with those who have emergency responsibilities, conducting visits to shelter and assembly locations, distributing the EOP and related policies and procedures, posting information such as evacuation routes and color-coded emergency procedures, and conducting information sessions with parish community members.
Exercises are activities in which those with a role in the EOP can both practice and identify any weaknesses. Exercises do require time and resources, but they are important. Exercise types are described in the participant guide. Members of parish planning teams can expect to participate in reviewing and revising the EOP as a whole or in parts every year or 2 years.
Plans may be reviewed routinely or when events occur that may indicate changes are needed. Can you think of events that would indicate a review of the parish EOP is needed?
EOPs generally need to be reviewed when actual emergencies occur, parish organization or resources change, guidance is received from the bishop, formal exercises are performed, threats or hazards change, or parish demographics change. That concludes our discussion of parish emergency operations planning. The steps in this process can be tailored to apply to most disaster plans.
Parish continuity of operations planning. How is a parish COOP plan different from the parish EOP?
The parish EOP focuses on the immediate life safety of parish staff, members, and guests during hazard events, protecting sacred objects, and reducing property damage. The COOP plan is focused on maintaining essential parish functions when the church, staff members, and/or parish facilities are unavailable due to a disaster event.
Like emergency operations planning, there are multiple sources of guidance on COOP planning. This video reflects guidance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the National Disaster Interfaith Network, and the Alliance for Human Services. Links to the resources are in the participant guide.
Principles of emergency planning also apply to the parish COOP plan. For example, Buy-in from parish leadership is equally as important to the development of a COOP plan as it is to EOP development.
The COOP planning leader chosen by the pastor needs to be credible, highly knowledgeable about parish operations, and ideally has business continuity planning experience.
The overall COOP planning process is similar to the one followed in developing the parish EOP. The result is different because the COOP plan describes how the parish will minimize disruption of normal operations versus immediate response actions.
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 1. Form the COOP planning team. The COOP planning team ideally includes representatives of all aspects of parish facilities and programs. Having experts on the day-to-day operation of parish functions and ministries is critical. Members of the parish community with risk management or business continuity experience will also be assets to this team.
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 2. Understand the situation. The groundwork for this step is created when the parish performs hazard risk assessment. COOP planning focuses on identified risks that will create a major interruption in normal parish operations.
That interruption can be caused by a wide array of events. In addition to natural disasters, it is valuable to consider other potential hazards, such as accidents involving hazardous materials, hate crimes, cyber attacks, and loss of power.
This broader risk assessment process may bring new awareness of operational vulnerabilities. Has the parish identified chemical storage or nearby transportation corridors and considered worst-case scenarios? Is the parish prepared to secure and protect the Eucharist and parish property if the entire staff become ill in a pandemic? What would be the impact on parish operations of an indefinite interruption in power supply?
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 3. Determine goals and objectives. What priority activities of your parish are most important to continue after a disaster? Those are your essential functions.
Essential functions might include spiritual care, including Mass and other sacraments, operating social ministries that parish members rely on, educating children that attend the parish school, administering the parish, including records maintenance, and meeting financial obligations. The goals of a parish COOP plan are to continue to provide its essential parish functions. The objectives, as described earlier, break down what is required to perform those functions.
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 4. Develop the COOP plan. COOP plans describe essential functions, orders of succession, delegation of authority, continuity facilities, continuity communications, vital records management, and human capital management.
COOP planning tips include only essential functions in this plan. Order of succession provides for the leadership of the parish if the pastor is unable to perform responsibilities. Consult the diocese about this. Delegation of authority describes by physician who can make decisions when normal organizational channels are disrupted. Continuity facilities are locations other than the normal place where an essential function is carried out. Consider expedient options like staff teleworking. Identify continuity communications options that are consistent with normal parish operations and can access critical data systems and partners. If possible, store duplicate vital records off-site. Always back up electronic records and pre-position duplicate records at the continuity facility. Prepare for checking in with staff and addressing health, safety, and family issues. Address pay status, leave time, and potential layoffs.
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 5. Prepare, review, and obtain approval. Like EOPs, there are many different formats for COOP plans. The important thing is to develop a plan that makes sense for your parish. The participant guide contains a COOP plan template that your parish may consider using.
After the COOP plan is developed, it is reviewed by the COOP planning team, submitted to the pastor and other appropriate parish leadership for approval, and shared with appropriate members of the parish staff and community.
Continuity of Operations Planning Step 6. Implement and maintain the COOP plan. This step is the same for any disaster plan. It includes training, exercising, plan review, and updating.
The parish must train on their COOP plan, including actually carrying out some of the functions of the plan. Train and test regularly.
The COOP planning team for the parish is responsible for maintaining the plan, including the training and testing schedule. Parish leadership is responsible for providing the COOP planning team the necessary resources and support. Review the COOP plan annually to incorporate new technologies, procedures, contact information, and other changes.
Wrap up. Parish disaster planning has been offered by Catholic Charities because the work we do during blue skies or non-disaster times becomes especially important in times of disaster. When our parishes are prepared for disasters, we are better able to answer our gospel call to help others.
Keeping our gospel call to help others in mind, has your parish assessed its overall state of preparedness for the risks it faces?
Does your parish have an emergency operations plan to enable you to protect your people, your sacraments, and your facilities when a disaster occurs?
Does your parish have a continuity of operations plan to maintain essential functions, even when an event has taken away the use of your facilities or your entire area loses power for days or weeks?
When you begin or resume your parish disaster planning efforts, remember that the participant guide includes a synopsis of the video contents, forms, samples, and links to important references.
Visit Catholic Charities USA at catholiccharitiesusa.org or call 703-549-1390 for more information about the Catholic Disaster Preparedness Program and other disaster preparedness training opportunities.